Welcome back. I'm Ted.Thomas. You're probably wondering why I'm speaking to you today. Well, I've been involved in the tax lien certificate and the tax deed business for over 25 years. Actually 30 years, but 25 just teaching people like you. Now this episode is all about, can you get a property by paying the back taxes? Well, I'm going to show you that the answer is yes, but there are some things you have to think about before you get to that yes. So let me take a few minutes and tell you about that, but I'm going to come right back. Okay, well, I'm back. Okay, so let me give you some facts about this business so you understand it and you have a little depth of knowledge. Okay, so there's thousands of tax defaulted properties that come up for auction every year. So about half of the states, if the people don't pay their property tax, the local government will send them a default notice and say, look, you're in default. If you don't pay your tax, we're actually going to confiscate. We're going to seize the property and we'll push you out and we'll sell it for the back taxes. Now, you wouldn't want that, and I wouldn't want to do it, but half of the states will sell those tax defaulted properties, and you, by paying the back taxes at the auction, could end up with one of those properties. Now, when the properties go to auction, the local government actually wipes out the mortgage. Now, that's a whole process that I can tell you about. Now, it's in my course material, so I won't tell you right now, but let's get you making sure that you understand you can buy properties for the back taxes. Now, everything I'm going to talk about today is 200 years old. 200 years old, yes, because this system has been around that long. So half of the states sell tax deeds, like I just mentioned, and the other half of the states sell tax lien certificates, okay? Now, those tax liens are by the thousands, so those states will sell those at auction. Now, if you were to buy a tax lien certificate, when you buy those certificates at auction, the mortgage is wiped out. So here's another opportunity. By just paying the back taxes, you could end up owning properties. Now, I don't have time to give you examples of students doing that, but I have students that have bought a tax lien certificate for less than $20,000 and ended up with a $150,000 property. I've had people that bought tax deeds at auction and they've only spent a few $100s and ended up with a property worth $30,000 or $50,000. So there's plenty of examples for this, but let's get the basics and get some foundation so we can start out by learning it. Believe me, I've got plenty of time on other videos to explain step by step how you can do the exact thing we're talking about today. All right, so defaulted properties are always auctioned. It could be a tax lien certificate auction or it could be a tax deed. Now, when they have an auction, they're basically auctioning for the back taxes because that's all the government really wants, is they want to collect their back taxes, and that's all they care about. So when they put the property back out for resale, they don't necessarily mark it up except to mark it up to enough to collect the back taxes and any fees. Now, when I said it was 200 years in the making, that's exactly what's been going on here. This has been going on for 200 years. It's just not publicized, so people don't know about it. And that's why we're making these videos. I've been doing it for 30 years, but I've been teaching it for 25 years. So this is a system that always works, but you have to learn the step-by-step process. So what did you come here for? You came here because you wanted to know if you could buy a property for the back taxes. And what's the answer? The answer is definitely yes. It doesn't matter which county you want to do it in. You can buy tax liens for just the back taxes, and you can buy tax deed property. All right, now why is all this going on? Well, let me give you just a little bit of background. The local counties are running a big business. The big business they're running is they take care of the schools, they take care of the police department, they take care of the firefighters. You're getting the idea. They got a lot of things that they're taking care of. All right, that takes money. The money comes from property taxes. So the property taxes are not being paid by many people. And when they don't pay their property tax, what the local government does is they send a notice and say, you're in default. If you don't pay your taxes, we're going to confiscate your house and sell it. Or if it's one of those states that sells tax liens, they simply say, look, you haven't paid your taxes, so we're going to issue a tax lien certificate. Now, you and I, we want to buy those certificates because on those certificates we can earn 18, 24, all the way up to 36% on our interest on our money. Now think about that. Bank of America, Wells Fargo paying 1%, and now we could make 24% or 18%. We can make an outrageous amount of money on a tax certificate. Now, we don't get possession. You do not get the property. What you do is you have a certificate. All right, now 97% of those people will come in and pay the tax. Now, the beauty of this business is whenever you buy, whether it's a tax lien certificate or a tax deed, there's no mortgage. It's already wiped out. And I'll cover that on another video. I don't have time to cover it today, but I will cover it on another video. But let's get to some of the things that I want you to be careful of before I finish up today, okay? Now, here's what I want you to be careful of. First of all, anytime there's a process, I want you to follow the process. Every auction will have rules. If you break the rules, they're just going to stop you. They won't let you bid anymore. So you got to follow the rules. But here's the two big mistakes that people make. Number one, they'll go to an auction and they'll actually raise their hand to buy, and they haven't seen the property. Now, ladies, you know you're not marrying a guy without seeing him. Well, guys, you know the same thing. So don't buy a property that you haven't seen. What if it's burned down? You say, oh, well, I saw a picture of it. Well, how old is the picture? I mean, we could go through a lot of reasons why you shouldn't do that. What was the hurricane? What if there was a fire? Okay, you don't want to buy a property you haven't seen. The second big mistake people make is they don't have an exit plan. In other words, they're going to buy a property, but they don't know what they're going to do with it. It's not as simple as just picking up the phone and calling a broker. It's going to be a little bit more complex than that because you own the property. You might have to do certain things to it or whatever. What if you don't have the money to do it? So don't buy a property that you already haven't planned the exit strategy. All right, now I'm always looking for people who like to be part of my community, and I'm going to give you a gift if you'll join, and here's what the gift is. The gift is a 1-hour DVD. Now, I didn't have time today. I've only got 6 or 8 minutes on this video, so the DVD, will spend half the time on the DVD just explaining tax lien certificate. Now, you can remember those certificates pay. The lowest I've ever seen recently is 12, all the way up to 36%. That's a nice rate of return on your money. Or if you want to buy second half of the DVD, we'll have all about tax deeds. So now you can learn about deeds, and you can buy those properties for 5, 10, 20 cents on the dollar. So you're kind of getting the idea. Wow, look at that question. That was a great question. Well, can you use a credit card? All right, now all of the states don't use a credit card, but in my course materials, I have 2 guys that specialize. I've got one guy that lives in Michigan. This is unbelievable, folks, but you'll see it in the materials, and I think I've even put a little piece of it on the free DVD that you're going to get. But he bought 60 properties in 60 months. 60 properties in 60 months, and he did it all using credit cards. So that tells you yes. So definitely I know that you can do it in New York and you can do it in Michigan, but I can't think of all the other states right now. But yes, there are states you can do it online and you can use your credit card. Oh, nice questions I'm getting. These are great questions, so keep them coming. All right, so the question that was asked was, do you have to be there? Well, the beauty of the world we live in today, it's the internet world. It wasn't an internet world some time ago. What was it? You had to go there and do it. But now I have clients all over the Canadian provinces. I have them in United Kingdom. I have them in Asia, in Singapore and Bangkok and places like that, even Australia. How are they doing that? They're doing it online. So the computer and the screen that you're looking at right now, we'll teach you to buy in every state and every county, and you can sit right there on your Rusty Dusty and start buying tax lien certificates and using your credit card. So all you have to do, join the community, is just go below me right now, and it'll show you how you can opt in and get that free gift from Ted Thomas.